Alex has been involved in it with the expo from years ago, and it's great to see his business growing and to see him expanding. He started off with Socios Media, then he launched Launch 7, and now the Tecric Hosting part of the business is the part that's really supporting me. That's the part I've been a customer of, and I can vouch for the fact that my website works because of Alex's input. So thank you very much for all you do for small businesses in West London. Would you like to, the name of your talk is, are you really working online? So that could mean anything. I'm really interested to see what angle you're going to take on this topic. So as soon as you're ready, you go ahead, Alexander. You have until 10, say until 1:45, and I'll give you a little shout out to see if anybody wants to argue any of your points or just join in for a bit. All right, I'll shut up now.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Carleen. Thank you. It's great to be a part of the expo again. The title, Are You Really Working Online? Carleen, I'm interested to see how this talk goes as well. I think the last few months has been really challenging for a lot of people, and it's been somewhat exciting for a lot of people. It's been an interesting time for me because I miss human connection. I miss sitting across from someone and talking to them. I miss hugging people, you know, so it's been really, really challenging. And now I was forced to go online. One of the partners in our business, he does marketing. He was saying, Alex, you need to get online. I'm like, oh no, I don't really want to go online. I want to talk to people. It's better that way. But having to force ourselves to be online, to do consultings and meet with clients and that kind of stuff, there's been, I know everyone has learned, but we've learned some really key lessons. And I think the number one lesson for me is to be more expressive. I'm already expressive. And I think sometimes when you're talking to someone on the phone or online, the true emotions, it's hard to come across because there might be a lag. It takes 2 seconds before the person responds. And you might, especially on the phone, you might say something in a certain way, but if it doesn't come across on your voice or in your voice, it can be taken the wrong way. And that's something that I learned when I was working in market research in Ealing, working for a company called Cantor Operation. I was on the phone and they always said to smile and dial. When you're talking to someone, smile and dial. And that's a lesson that I've kept with me over the years. And I think it's helped me with my sales strategy a little bit as well. I come on the phone, I'm like, hello, how's it going? Maybe not that much, but a little bit more than my usual relaxed and laid back self. So are we really working online? I did make some notes, so I'm not just going to be all over the place, Carleen. So I should tell you a little bit about myself. I've got a computer science degree and I graduated from Goldsmith in 2008. And I've always been interested in business and I've always been interested in computers and working online as well. And to be honest, I haven't really harnessed the skill. I didn't really harness the skill or utilize online in previous years, even though I've been a web designer, as much in the past 2 years or so. And the reason I say that is because one of my, something that was a big regret was that I had this idea to create a website where people can come onto this website and they can watch any video that we had in our database. They could listen to any piece of audio that we had in a database. And this is my dissertation project from 2008. So before I graduated, I had this project and the website worked. And the problem that website was supposed to solve was the problem of people downloading music and downloading movies and TV shows illegally via Napster. So I had this idea, it worked a little bit, it didn't look really nice, and I thought, actually, I need to get production companies to give me their music, to give me their movies, and I could do a subscription fee or advertising model or some sort, and that's how we'd make money. Now, at the time, I didn't have a mentor, I didn't have a coach, there wasn't anyone guiding me, and I'm not saying that someone should have, but I didn't put in that extra work to say, actually, how am I gonna make this thing work? And I forgot about it. And I remembered it a few years later, maybe around 2012, I was made redundant, sort of voluntary redundant from Kantar operations. And I was cleaning my room and I found this bit of paper. Oh, well, 4 sheets of paper, and it was really, really detailed. And I thought, oh my gosh, this looks really important. What is? It's my idea, it's my dissertation. This was the big idea that I had, and I didn't take any action on it whatsoever. And it so happened around that time, there was a company called Netflix that they had been going for some time, but they got a deal. They won some deal with a big company, a hotel company in America. I think it was Hilton or one of these big American companies, to provide the in hotel rooms entertainment across America. So they were valued at something like 10 million or something, and they became like, it was 10x or some crazy number. And I'll tell you, I was depressed for like 2 weeks. I called up my wife. We were just dating back then. I was like, I'm an idiot. This could have solved so many problems. We could have had a wedding in the Bahamas with dolphins making love hearts and all sorts. And I've messed up. And she was really encouraging. She said, no, you'll have other ideas. Now, the reason I'm telling that story is because it's really about execution. And I realized that we have to be intentional in how we execute and how we work online as well. So how do we engage with people online? Engaging with people online doesn't necessarily have to be like you're having a Zoom call and you're talking. Engaging is being expressive, understanding that person, taking time out to actually understand who your customer is and how you approach and how you speak to them. So that's something that's really important. But the other important thing is measuring, having some sort of measurement of the work that you're doing online. So right now, I know a lot of people are trying to get more customers. And the last session was about marketing. So it's really important to get more customers. But I think we need to look at how we measure our success online. That's really, really important. So what did I say here? Yeah, so what are a measure of effective work? Is it more sales? Is it more leads? Is it more money in the bank? Of course, if you're running a business, that needs to be very important. Sales and money in the bank needs to be really, really important, right? I haven't mentioned anything about Tecric as yet. So I think this is a good time to do so, especially since someone from our team has just joined in. His name's Othniel. I'm putting him on the spot a little bit, Othniel, but Othniel is a digital marketer and he's been doing digital marketing for what, maybe two years or so. We've worked together quite a lot. And Othniel says something really, really important in almost all of our sessions. And he says that your content, hopefully I don't mess this up, your content is a window to your process, of how you operate. So when you're on Facebook, in a group, on your own page, on Instagram, whatever you're doing, the content that you're putting out needs to be some idea or give some expression or impression of how you will work with that customer. Othniel, have I done a good job of explaining that?
Yeah, well done. You did well. A star for that.
A star. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I think if we're running a business, we really need to be thinking about, are we making money? That's what's important. If you're running a charity or social enterprise, are you having an impact? And how do you measure that? How do you measure that is an important question. And I think that we need to say, is it more money? Is it more accolades? Are we getting awards? Are we getting acknowledgement? Are people having us on radio, TV, in their magazines, in newspapers? And we need to be measuring those success. So definitely, if we're working online and we're thinking about growing our businesses, we need to say, what are our objectives? What are we trying to achieve? What do we want at the end of this call? What do we want at the end of this day and at the end of this week, at the end of this month? Those questions are really, really important. Carleen, am I allowed to bring in Othniel? Can I give Othniel just a few moments to talk about what we can do in terms of digital marketing, and maybe speak a little bit more about how our content is our window to our process.
Go ahead, let's hear him explain how our content is a window to our process.
Good evening. I mean, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Osnell, as Alex kind of kindly shared. Yeah, so essentially, the concept of your content is a win of your process, is you kind of humanizing your product or service. Because a lot of the times, the way people operate online is very different to how people operate offline. And essentially, a lot of the times is that we're trying to get that across to the prospect. As much as people see the price, they see the value, a lot of the times they want to see how can that actually benefit and help them personally. And essentially that's what we're trying to do, because for me, I know a lot of the times I don't connect with a product or service until I see a human face next to it, or if I see how it's done well for an individual. In one of my sales funnels, what I usually do is that I consider somebody a warm target the moment they hit my website. You know, and a lot of the times we push people and want them to be, we push kind of all these cold calls, cold emails, but in actual fact, turning somebody from a cold to a warm prospect is essentially getting them to get in contact with your product or service. It's not just about going on the phone, free webinar, all of that stuff. That's great. But if they don't interact with the sales process that you've put in place, it won't become automated. For me, as soon as someone jumps on the website, especially for Tecric or any of the other businesses I work with, that person is going through my sales funnel. They're going to see a bunch of my ads in the next 3 or 4 weeks, and I know exactly what's going to happen in that process. But it's so important, especially in the TOF part of your marketing, is to get across not so much the selling aspect, but the brand message, the brand story, and getting them to understand you're not just about the money, but you're about how can that service or product improve the position that prospect is in. And as soon as they jump on the website, whatever remarketing tactics that you have, they're in that funnel, and you know exactly within the next 3 or 4 weeks, you're going to get a couple of phone calls. So essentially, that's what I believe your content should be. It should be a nudge to the individual that, okay, maybe I need to find more information about what this person is selling or what this person is propositioned towards me, so I can go find out more information. And the moment they go and find out more information, your retargeting funnel starts to make its way, and essentially you have a warm prospect. And people don't think of marketing like that. It's almost like, oh, I don't have enough likes, I don't have enough this, I don't. Retargeting is the gem. It's really the nugget to a successful online business. But yeah, those are kind of a few ideas to that particular concept. But thank you, Colleen, for letting me share.
Absolutely. I mean, and when you think about in terms of people working from home, are they working online? How do we apply this this mode of thinking to people working from home? You know, are they making the most of online opportunities? Do they realize that they have to make the most of online opportunities, or are people really kind of harking back? They still want to be in the office, they still want to be in person. Are we making the most of this time now, do you think?
Um, I'm not sure. I know personally speaking, I haven't, if I'm completely honest. I get distracted quite easily. I'm a creative person, so that's sort of natural. But something that we do, which not on the Tecric side, but on the Launch 7 side, that helps people to start businesses, is something called a success roadmap. And that's really looking at what do you have now, and taking stock of your resources, your tools, and even your skills, and looking at whether you're using that effectively. So for example, if you have Zoom, or if you have WhatsApp, or any of these sort of online platforms, you say, which ones do you use? What are the top 4 that you use regularly? And give yourself a score out of 5. Am I using this effectively? And if it's a low score, then you can say, well, how can I use this a bit more effectively? What are the things that I can do to you? How can I use Zoom to help my business grow? How can I use WhatsApp to help my business grow? How can I use my website to help my business grow? And you might not have all the answers, but when you start asking yourselves these questions, when you ask questions, you get answers, don't you? Depending on the answer, that sort of steers you in which direction you need to go. So, but I think personally for me, I get distracted a little bit, and there's some tools out there that can help me to stay focused as well. But I think what's important is knowing yourself, knowing how you work, and also knowing how you can utilize the tools that you have to allow your business to grow and allow you to function a little bit better.
That's fantastic. I mean, we have 5 more minutes. Does anybody else want to talk about how they would interpret? You've heard how Mr. Matashi interprets the question. We've heard how Alexander interprets the question. Would anybody else like to have a go at talking about, you know, are we really working online?
I would love to. I am about to jump off of here. But if I could just, Alexander, I think you're right in that small businesses do need to measure. But before they measure, I think you might want to first talk about setting up tracking, having a tracking system in place, because you can't measure unless you're tracking. So as we were referring to Facebook, I think it's very important that a lot of any Facebook business who's on here, or anyone who's on here who's using Facebook, I think it's essential that you make sure that whatever activity, before you do anything on Facebook, you make sure that you have the Facebook pixel set up on your website or wherever you're doing business. Okay, that is the most important, because like he said, like Alexander says, you have to measure. But the only way you can measure, you can only measure what you're seeing. And the Facebook pixel, the Google Analytics, that's the place where you look at and see where things are happening. So if you don't have those, what are called plumbing, or those things set up, those foundations set up, you really are just shooting in the wind. Okay, so measuring is very, very important. But before you measure, again, it's like before you make money, you have to have products and services that matches a need. Okay, that will determine how much money you make. So before you can measure, before you can know how effective your marketing is, you need to make sure you have your tracking in place. And the Facebook pixel is key for that. Okay, before, I mean, I think Othaniel was talking about, you know, top of the funnel and bottom of the funnel and all of that. You ain't gonna know none of those things until you have your tracking in place. So I think from what I see here, or before I see anything else, particularly if anyone is still doing flyering. Now, flyering is really old school, but if you're not able to track your flyers that you're putting through the door, whether it's a website link that takes them back to get that special offer, or it's a particular phone number that is relative to that particular flyer, so that when somebody calls, you know that it's that flyer that brought that customer in. That's how you measure. If you don't have those systems in place, you really are doing ineffective marketing. And today, you can do all of those things. I 100% agree with Alexander. Measuring is the most important, because that's how you know you're making money from your marketing efforts. But you really and truly want to make sure your tracking is in place. So I agree here. I think I'm going to move back into Ealing. I've had a restaurant in West Ealing, but I think I'm now going to move all the way back to Ealing, because I can see small business within Ealing could really use some help there.
Yes, we need all that.
So I think I am going to move back to Ealing.
When you move back, David, we have to meet, because you're whenever.
Well,
your name is David Alexander, and my second name is David. So, and every time I meet another Alex, amazing things happen. So we have to meet when we can.
All right.
For sure. Normally I'm back in Ealing. I usually go to Sylvester's barbershop. But listen, I just want to say, look, this is so important. I love this, because marketing, and really the focus is on helping small businesses, because I was a small business owner myself. And I know one of my failure was that I didn't get to implement the marketing strategy, which is absolutely the most important element of your business. It's the marketing. It's how do you get more customers coming in before you think about anything else. Marketing. All right, so I am going to have to jump off of here, but I do love this session. I wish I could stay a bit longer, but I will try and catch the later session and maybe tomorrow. But great work. Definitely. This is brilliant to see what Ealing is doing.
All right, good to see you, David. Definitely. We have just a couple more minutes. I'm just I'm just looking at who else is on the call. We're so anxious to get young people involved. I'm just looking at Mr. 16-year-old, one of our exhibitors, Minute Business Videos. I'm wondering if he wants to talk about being an online business. Vitali, do you want to talk for a minute, or you're rushing off? Because we had invited.
Wait, can you hear me?
Yes. What is it like working online? A lot of your work is done online.
I mean, okay, here we go. So it's good. I feel like it's better. I mean, you're at home, so you have that dream. You know, everyone has that dream of working at home, where they're not have any pressure from when you go into work. When you go into work, I've actually had the opportunity to go into office, and sorry, I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know.
Yes, because I did put you on the spot, because I know you had your views of working online and making videos for online and that sort of thing. But thank you for coming on and saying a few words, Vitali.
Yes, I'm in the common room right now. I'm in school, so it's a bit hard to hear what's going on. I apologize.
That's all right. We're going to get more young people involved in this expo from year to year. Thank you very much, Vitali. All right. And we will, Vitali, I'll ask you to mute yourself. Thank you, my dear. Oops, sorry. So I think that is the end of this session. The next bit, we're going to have Cassandra. Is Cassandra in on this call? Yes, she is. So we're going to come out of the session and come back in. I suppose the advantage of making people go in and out is that you look at the stands and you look at the exhibition stands while you go in, you get a chance to go back to the website and go in and out. So earlier I had said, I don't think this is such a good idea, making people go in and out, but I think it would work. Right, so thank you everyone for joining in this. If you get other ideas later on and you think, ooh, are we really working online? I wish I had mentioned this. I wish I had said that. Sure, we could just put it on the social media. We have the Twitter break coming up after Cassandra's talk. So we can talk about, we could just talk about it some more on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you're happy talking. So thank you again, Alex. Thank you, Mr. Matashi, for coming on and sharing your concepts and your rocket science with us, and we will meet again quite soon online. All right, so everyone, I'm going to sign out of this one and welcome you back in on the next link starting at 1 o'clock. Thank you. Cassandra, I'll see you in a minute.
See you in a bit.